Have you guys seen those? No, how you can like buy clicks at like those click
Mm-hmm.
farms.
Yeah, yeah.
They literally have these closets where there's just like iPhones, rows of iPhones hanging, probably like 100, and you just open a closet and you just swipe on all of the iPhones.
That is some Project Mayhem shit. Like that sounds like
That's
fucking
crazy.
Fight Club.
Man, people do some things.
I did see an art project where somebody had set up a phone on Tinder and a drill with a piece of meat that just went around and slapped to swipe left because the phone read it as a hand. And they were just like speed slapping left through all of Tinder.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
And they were making sure of it.
Okay, so we have the manpower to come up with cures for cancer. We're just not. We don't have the focus.
We're not applying.
You saw Don't Look Up.
Episode 377 of the TV News recorded March 23rd, 2022. Are you sure that's a good idea? This week we're asking, are you sure that's a good idea? There are any number of bad ideas surrounding the uploading of consciousness into the cloud after death, the concept at the core of Upload Season 2 on Prime. Trusting a Borg Queen to take you into the past to fix the meddling of Q seems a bit dodgy on the second season of Picard on Paramount+. And launching a feminist magazine on the backs of nude male pictures might be genius, or it might not be such a good idea. We'll find out in Minx on HBO Max. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick of Nine.
And we're the TV Dudes.
I was gonna go less of Nick, but that wouldn't have came out right. Like
It doesn't quite work now.
Les, your name, like, it doesn't lend itself to like combination, like couple names.
No, that comes closer to sounding like a Handmaid's Tale thing, like
Offless.
like Offnick.
Actually, describe Handmaid's Tale. It sounds like an anime.
We may have let your secret drop last week, Randy.
I wasn't here last week, but I did listen to the episode. I can't believe you guys were telling tales about me and anime. We'll talk more about that next week.
We know how you're serious about the TV Dudes characters and not dropping facade, but we thought since you were off mic, we could kind of lower the curtain and let people know who we are really.
Randy's really dedicated to his character work.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pull back the curtain like that. I'm not the Wizard of Oz.
It's a commitment to a
Showbiz 101.
Don't pay attention to the weeb behind the curtain.
I don't know. Last time I was on vacation, y'all noticed this. I don't know if you noticed. I was updating my TV diaries, and so I guess let's just jump right into that.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
I have 2 weeks of the TV diary here, so I'm gonna run through all of it real quick. Watch some more Seinfeld, watch some more Cutthroat Kitchen, keeping up on Last Week Tonight, which is funny and depressing. Like I still don't understand how that works, but it does.
The Ticketmaster one was fun.
It's impossible to binge.
Kept up on Severance. I think I may be one behind on Severance, actually. I think I might have missed an episode this week. Finished out Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Started watching season 18 of Top Chef, the most recent one that I did not catch live. I watched a couple episodes. I'm not sure I'll stick with it. It doesn't have quite the same addictiveness to it, but it is interesting because it was the one that was made during the pandemic, and it's really interesting to watch them deal with the difficulties of making Top Chef during the pandemic. Like they don't do the shopping sprees at all. Like they get their groceries delivered, which is crazy. And it's because that's such a thing on Top Chef is going to them shopping Whole Foods and finding out they don't have certain things. Like that whole element is gone, and they're all in the house like all the time. They're not going around as much. It's an interesting thing, and I'll probably continue watching it. Although it's also a little traumatizing. I've watched 5 episodes of Bust Down, not all of it, which of last week's shows, I was bummed the most not to be able to talk about that one because I really did love that show.
Oh, it's so good.
But
Yeah.
I wasn't going to watch Pieces of Her, but you guys talked it up so much that I think I'm 5 episodes into that and I'm really digging it.
Yeah, I was surprised as well.
It's interesting. Watched a couple movies. Watched The Atom Project, which is fun but forgettable 80s superhero. Basically, it's an 80s kids movie. Ryan Reynolds and his mini-me.
The biggest surprise of that is that they got the kid to, like, they must have put him through a Ryan Reynolds training camp because he acts like a really like a small Ryan Reynolds. Like his cadence and his joke pattern is actually pretty similar.
Netflix put up this behind the scenes thing where he shows Ryan Reynolds like selfie videoing him behind him, and the kid is line by line going through Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
because he knew it that well.
Yes, I heard about that.
That's probably not a good thing for that kid that age.
Well, that was my question. Like, who let him watch Deadpool 2 that much?
that many times.
Yeah, man, you didn't stand at the back of the other screen of the movie theater and sneak half of Deadpool 2 like we did.
No, he watched it multiple times.
My favorite part of that movie was when the first time where I realized he was great was when the mom was like, this is your third time getting suspended for fighting. He's like, yeah, you think I'd be better at it by now. Okay, that's not a thing a child would say, but that's definitely a thing Ryan Reynolds would say.
I saw a review. It's got a good cast. I like everybody in it. I saw a review that I think that kind of nailed it. It might have been Variety that was like, this is a very good movie that no one will remember in a year. And I'm like, yeah, that's dead on. Like, it is just fire and forget. Like, it's just the same people who made Free Guy, which I really like and find very watchable. But something didn't quite connect.
I was really thrown that the kid had his own gin company that he was promoting in the movie. And that's dedication.
Little Aviators.
Yep.
Little Aviators. The gin for little ones. The gin for kids. I also watched another movie. I watched Turning Red. I've actually watched it twice so far. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I have not yet. I've heard it's great.
Not yet. It's not. But yeah, everybody's talking about it this weekend.
I loved it. And I immediately watched Embrace the Panda, which is the behind the scenes of how they made it. And it's interesting. It's one of the first Pixar movies. Like, it is an entirely female-led project. The director, the producers, the main, like, it is like the guys were heavily outnumbered on this production, and it's interesting to see that.
Did it go to Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, I should have watched it.
There was actually some pushback on that. I think some of the Pixar people were like, "Hey, why didn't you put this in theaters?" And this is great. I think it's as good or better than Encanto. It deserved a theatrical run, but that's the way it goes, and I got to watch it for free twice. So,
did you see Luca?
I didn't like Luca.
Ah, okay.
I couldn't plug into it, and I love that animator, but I couldn't plug into it. I also watched on the plane on my trip. I watched The Gentleman on the way out and Spider-Man: No Way Home on the way back. Both those are great. Held up pretty well. I watched My Boyfriend's Back because that's on next week's Patreon. So I finally seen that. And then getting ahead for next week, I watched a couple episodes of Welcome to Flatch and Life of Beth. And then I also watched Star Trek Discovery episodes 12 and 13, the finale. And I have to say, I've been waiting for them to drop the ball. This is what they do every season. I thought the Star Trek Discovery finale was one of the best episodes of the show. I thought it had really good emotional stakes. They didn't drop the ball on their big threat. I thought that's excellent character moments. And honestly, just the fact that Ted Cruz is freaking out because Stacey Abrams is president of the Federation of the Future makes it all worthwhile no matter what else they've done.
I didn't hear about that, but that tracks.
It's great. She came out, and I was like, holy shit, that's Stacey Abrams. And I'm like, no, is it? Yeah, it is. And then Ted Cruz on Twitter was like, what the fuck is this? It's amazing. I love it.
How did I know that Ted Cruz watches Star Trek?
I mean, of course he does. He doesn't understand it, but he watches it.
Yeah, there's a lot of fandoms. Like, he's a huge nerd. I think, doesn't he also love Princess Bride? And like, Carrie always got like half the cast to be like, we don't like you, right?
Yeah. I think it's like fucking Paul Ryan, who loved Rage Against the Machine, but I'm not sure he'd ever listened to
it. Right.
Well, I mean, the name is Rage Against the Machine, you fucking idiot.
Like Chris Christie and Springsteen.
Who do you think the machine is? Yeah. Spoiler, it's you.
You're the machine. Anyway, beyond the homework, that's what I watched. Les, what about you?
Let's see. I watched a little movie called The Neon Dead with Nick. It has a pretty good creature design, though it has a cooler monster on the poster that never shows up in the movie, and it kind of takes away from any good work they did. Plus, everything else about the movie's terrible. It was a difficult watch. Kept up on From, which is great and continues to just be great. I freaking love that show. I think Nick and I have already spent a good 40 minutes talking about it this week.
Oh yeah, we have theories.
Watched Dam Sharks, which is not about sharks trapped by a dam. It's deeper than that.
Yeah, not
It's Damn Yankees,
not
but with sharks.
DAMN sharks, DAM
No.
sharks.
DAM. Get it? Yeah, that actually was pretty great. It definitely opens with an amazing scene that any movie called Damn Shark should start with. They just get right to the deaths.
Definitely better than Shark Exorcist, but not quite as good as Shark Avalanche, I don't think.
Yes.
I love that you have a whole shark rating you can do.
There is apps. Nick and I were talking about that of like, now when I see the ratings, like the Amazon has, star ratings for these, and I kind of need two separate systems. Like, was this movie watched by people that just watch normal movies and they stumbled into this and then they gave it that star rating?
Les and I are giving 5-star ratings to the 1-star movies.
Yeah. Well, because I realize what a range of 1-star movie. It's like fractals, like it's endless. 1-star movie you could just keep pouring in. Yeah. So yes, better than Shark Exorcist, not as good as Avalanche Sharks. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is always great. Caught up with The Dropout, disturbing. Billions continues to be super fun. I'm into the new season and like 1 or 2 away from being caught up to that show, which is sad to me. Night Court, which is finally somewhere that can stream and is fun to watch. Domino Masters, which I meant to talk about with Kyle. On Hulu, it has I can't remember the actor's name. Eric Stone
from
Modern Family.
Eric Stone Street, I think.
Cam from Modern Family. Yeah.
Eric Stone Street.
Mhm.
And I really like how they do Domino Masters. It's a really fun show.
So is
Yeah, it
is
looked
a
really
spin-off?
close to Lego Masters.
I was gonna say, is it a spin-off from Lego Masters, but they build dominoes?
If it's not a spinoff, it's definitely copying the crap out of it. But yeah, it's exactly the same deal. It's got Winnie from Wonder Year, the original Wonder Years, is one of the judges. Some kind of like domino Rube Goldberg building YouTube champ is one of the judges. It's very Lego Mastery.
I bet definitely anybody young that's on that show has no clue what the Wonder Years is.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. That felt entirely aimed at me. Then I watched Making Fun, which is some guy who I guess is a toy inventor. Sky Dancers, the toy where you basically like pull a ripcord and it goes up like a spinning top.
I've seen those, yeah.
Yeah, from the 80s. Like this guy worked on those and some other toys and shit, and is retired and is now a maker. And the setup for the show is great. It's him and like 4 super weird dudes that just build crazy shit with him. And they take invention ideas from little kids over a screen, like so that you can see how they could do it in the pandemic. And the kids' ideas are truly stupid. And the guy seems to genuinely not like children. And so like the other 4 guys in the shop are constantly like, that was a little far, man. And I mean, they've edited it like this, but he really plays the line very well of like shit you can barely almost not say to a kid, but like I really don't think he likes kids. But then they build whatever stupid fucking thing these kids come up with. So they make like a dinosaur taco toilet, and they make a tennis shoe, the unicorn that punches a boxing glove. It's just dumb shit. Then they build these giant things and then like race them or do whatever the kid wanted. It's called Making Fun. It's on Netflix. It's pretty great. I watched Spider-Man No Way Home because I have access to Randy's Apple account. And that was really great. I'm glad I didn't go see it in the theater because it's really long.
I wondered who was. I figured it was either you or Kyle watching that. I was glad you watched it.
Yeah, hopefully I didn't screw up your spot, and it seemed like it was at the beginning.
No, I'd already watched it.
We waited till like freaking 3 months in and got a theater where we were the only ones in the theater. And we didn't rent the theater. It was just nobody was going to see it anymore.
Yeah,
I did really enjoy it. It was really fantastic. Did the usual Marvel thing of did the usual Marvel thing of salvaging huge chunks of bad movies from before.
Yeah.
Like it gave me Electro's mask finally. It made Sandman still shouldn't have, I mean, I love Thomas Hayden Church, but that character just shouldn't have been in this entire movie. The effect looked bad and it was dumb, but everything else about it pretty much worked. Watched The Wave with Nick, which is a Fantastic Fest movie from a couple of years ago. Justin Long and Donald Faison. Trippy ass movie. It's hard to explain. I wouldn't want to. It's on Amazon Prime. I really enjoyed it. I also caught up on Grand Crew, which after watching Bust Down, I went over and watched. Well, all right, what's the new Friends? If that's Peacock's new Always Sunny. And Grand Crew is great all the way through. Holy shit.
It's weird to me. It feels reductive to say that the Bust Down is the black Always Sunny and Grand Crew is the black, like, Happy Endings, Friends, whatever.
They are their own shows. They are very individual.
But god damn it if it isn't true to some extent.
But in terms of, like, the network's only going to have X number of, like, raunchy comedies and X number of family comedies and X number of whatever, these fit in terms of their humor. Bust Down is raunchier. And Grand Crew is, I mean, it still gets into some sex stuff, but
Grand Crew is every bit as good for me as Happy Endings. I think the characters are all just as good. The storylines are just as weird and fun. Like, I'm into all the arcs. Like, I really thought that show grew from a strong pilot into a really strong show.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it. It's strong all the way through. I assume it's going to get renewed. I think it has.
I think it probably has, yeah.
Something else that's gotten renewed is the Flash over on CW, which I guess is taking over as the Arrow spot of flagship show holding the network together that stays 3 seasons too long.
At least.
And so, yeah, the Flash is still happening. It is a thing that exists in the world.
The Flash is still happening to you.
Yes. That said, I'm watching it every fucking week, so the joke's on me. I'm also watching Superman and Lois, which returned after a weird hiatus week, because shows just do that. When I was a kid, get off my lawn, shows just came on and stayed the fuck on for 25 episodes. So Superman and Lois has been absolutely great and continues to be great. The whole weird Bizarro thing, which I know the other, I don't want to spoil it if people don't, but the other monster that they're leading to should also be fun to watch this happen. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. Some huge betrayals and shit, and I keep being surprised how much I'm actually like, no! So, yeah. That's it for me.
Kyle, what about you?
So I caught up on a old friend of mine. You know, I have not really watched Howard Stern since he made that jump to Sirius Radio. I remember back in the day when I had, like, you know, actual basic cable, we would like Howard Stern was kind of one of those staples, like Daily Show. Like, I never watched it religiously, but whenever it was on, just, you know, you always see what was going on. Anyways, his show is kind of like taking a new form and is mostly on YouTube now. I don't know if there's another network that's airing it as well outside of Sirius XM, because that was the whole thing. He signed this huge contract with them, and he's just kind of, you know, going to make money for the rest of his life. But the thing that I like about all the new stuff I've seen is he's dialed the raunchy down a little bit, but it's still there. He's still asking people about their sex life. But he's almost like old man Stern now. Like, he's just kind of settled down. Like, I don't know. He doesn't seem as pissed off. He just seems a little more stoic. And I'm kind of digging it.
Tell me he's got the white Letterman beard. Like, I haven't seen Stern in a while, but like, I want the big Christmas,
no, he doesn't
like,
have the
Santa
beard,
Claus.
but yeah, he's getting the gray in his hair. Like, you can definitely see the age on him. Although Robin doesn't look like she's aged a day. She looks straight up just like a Nosferatu, gonna live forever, you know, and look the exact same. Or I guess that's more like Portrait of Dorian Gray. You know,
maybe Howard's the portrait.
The point is, she's a monster.
I love Robin. No, I watched the homework. I jumped into Drive to Survive season 4. That's the Netflix reality show that like follows the entire season of F1. And funny enough, season 1 kind of got me into F1. What I mean by that is I was always interested in it. You guys know I've loved Top Gear for years, but you need like the primo cable package to watch F1. I think even now, like if you don't have ESPN, like it's I'm not sure where you'd watch it.
The Ocho.
So it's really hard to be into something if you can't watch it. When that first season of Drive to Survive came out, I realized, oh, I now have access to it, and I've kind of been watching ever since. But this is the first time I've gone back to the reality show to kind of get a feel for it, and it's actually not great. It's kind of funny. Like, I'm not going to say it's bad, but the story of F1 is already so good. Like, they can't put it together in
It's
the
no
same
hyperdrive,
narrative.
is what you're saying.
Actually, funny enough, I think I may like Hyperdrive more than this season 4. Which this last year of F1 was like one of the craziest, but they just, they try to, make it seem so scandalous and like people hate each other and this or that. Max Verstappen, who's the reigning world champion, he's already said he's not doing interviews for them this next year. Like when Netflix goes to do an interview with him, he's like, I'm not going to do it. So I don't know if that's something he can do or not. But it would be funny if he becomes world champion again and they have interviews with everybody except the guy who won. And then the last thing I watched is really freaking weird. I was saying earlier, this is less in Nick territory, but in 2005, James Franco starred and directed in a film called The Ape. If you want to know what he was going for, he probably wanted it to be like a Wilford ripoff, where instead of a big dog, it's just a guy in a gorilla suit. But instead, it is a mess. It is like a student film mess where like you can't even really track the continuity from one scene to the next. And it's not that I wasn't paying attention. I was actually really just kind of focused on the screen start to finish. Watched it late too, couldn't fall asleep. I mean, that's rare for me. Like this was so bad, I couldn't turn away. It was also a good runtime. It was like whatever the minimum time for feature length film in a festival entry is.
That would be 1 hour
like
and
how
30
long
minutes
this movie was.
on the dot.
Yep. It was just like it got in and out like as
2005's
quick
The
as it
Ape.
could. It
Well,
juiced it.
I bet you that's what he goes on the Planet of the Apes prequel. He's like, oh, this is what a good monkey movie's supposed to be.
Oh my god, I was watching it in somebody's backyard with a group, and yeah, people were that probably made it better too. Like people were cracking jokes the whole time. Like somebody did a really good Norman Osborn impersonation. So like every time you do something, you go, "I'm something of an ape myself," or like I'm something of this point. It was a really good. It was a good time. But yeah, no, the movie is just freaking awful. It's actually one of those good movies to watch for like what not to do in like your student film. And yeah, no, those are my TV diaries. Don't watch that. Oh, sorry, animal rights thing. He actually rented a chimp and had like a chimp just hold up poster board, and that was like his title cards. He did like the, chapter 1, chapter 2, and I'm like, they don't even let you use monkeys like this on movies anymore because it's like animal rights violation.
Nah, that monkey was a scab. He wasn't union.
He
We don't recognize that monkey.
was a film student too.
Nick, what about you?
I rewatched all the big stay horror movie remakes, like Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Nightmare on Elm Street, because I saw Friday the 13th had Danielle Pennebaker in it, and then I saw Katie Cassidy in Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was like, oh, can I find any more Flash actors in these other reboots? And I found a Supernatural guy, but not any more Flash people in Halloween or Chainsaw. I do forget, though. I'm like, okay, so this Halloween movie isn't exactly awful. It's just that Rob Zombie can't write dialogue. Or whoever because all this dialogue sucks. Just fuck every other word. And yeah, it feels like Halloween was written by a 13-year-old, basically. Did I catch up on Legends of Tomorrow? Less I am to the point where Matt Ryan has come back as a doctor, father of time, and is not Constantine, and for no reason. and they're just like, who does he remind me of? He looks like an old Ray. No, I think he's a young Stein. Like, they just make a whole thing of it, and then I love that Zari is like, why didn't anyone tell me that we were hanging out with a bearded John? What? No, he's not. It doesn't look anything like him.
Doesn't look a thing like him.
It's basically like the show is like almost daring you to say something about it. No, you don't get it. We don't
feels
fucking
like
care.
The ethos of all of Legends of Tomorrow. It's a show that is daring you to say something.
Me and Les kept up on From. Wow, that's really good. I don't know if I've seen monsters like this, new monsters like this that are this intriguing with this little special effects use on them, because they're really just people, but they are sinister, and they treat it like they have all the time in the world. They intentionally let people go so that they can hunt them down later, and they're just assholes about it. And real drama queens too. Like we've actually watched them set up to where they can have the most dramatic entrance. Like, they can't just walk into a room. They have to come up from behind somebody, and like it's like being hunted by some sort of improv group of like, no, but what if I entered the room like this?
Yeah, it's super creepy realizing that like the monsters are playing a long game because it's more fun to fuck with you.
Like, oh, Frank, check this out. Instead of walking down the stairs, let's just drip some blood down it and make somebody come up here. Yeah, no, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, trust me. Oh yeah, also the priest has a great backstory that he tells via over drinks to the sheriff that just gets sadder every time. It just keeps getting darker. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a dark story. Oh, you're not done. Okay, yeah, that's really
Like,
sad. Oh, there's more.
It's a great
okay.
performance. It's a great performance by the actor that has to give the speech, but it's a great performance by Harold Piranu as the actor listening to it, because it just gets worse and worse.
I think they must have did it, like, maybe the actor, that was the first take and the actor's never heard that story before, because really it's coming across his face like, Jesus, you're not done. How far is this gonna go, dude? I kept up on Severance. Very dark. God, this show is fucking bleak and dark, and I love it. I could watch a whole show with just Christopher Walken and John Turturro and their thing going on. I'm like, this is fucking fascinating. I love this. Yeah, me and Les watched Neon Dead and Damn Sharks, and The Wave. The Wave was definitely the highlight out of that.
Yeah, that's not those three really aren't the same category of movie.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was pretty much it for me this week.
All right. That's our TV Diaries. And this seems like a good place to remind you that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we continue our movie roulette with Kyle's selection, 2014's The Guest. This seems like a good place for me to mention that I did not rewatch the one I made you guys watch last week, so I have no idea if it would have held up for me or not.
Oh, we were gonna give we were gonna give you the floor for like to.
I know. That's the thing. I got nothing to say. I liked it in the theater. I saw it with my kid whenever it came out in theaters. So
You know, that movie, if it came on cable, I think it'd hook you at any point. Like,
Yeah,
even
okay.
at the beginning, like those fights where they're in the like abandoned lot or whatever.
I don't
I think
think
you'd
so.
watch that.
I think if you watch this with your kid, you'd go, "Oh, that was better than I thought."
That's what I remember. I think it was better than I thought it was going to be. But I remember thinking it was kind of like, oh, that was pretty good.
I feel like
But
I would
I don't
have
know,
blown
maybe
right
not.
past this on channel surfing, but
We also have our $20 showrunner level. So if there are shows you want us to throw in rotation, you can buy into that level. Give us a couple of ideas. It can be anime. I guess it's going to be anime. I know it's going to be anime.
Is it a cactus?
Your plan is going swimmingly.
but Randy, could it be the King Arthur 80s cartoon, King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword?
It could be. I don't know. Is that a real thing?
That's a real thing.
Happened?
I had to find some King Arthur
Okay.
music, so I found that and put it on the end of the episode. The end of the episode for the Patreon is the theme intro for that King Arthur cartoon.
What about? Did you guys ever see the King Arthur cartoon where it was like the football team from modern times got sent back in time to King Arthur times, but they had to use their like the quarterback got to be King Arthur, and they were like the football players of the Round Table.
That's it.
We
That's
could
what.
do a-
That's the
we
thing
could
I'm
do a
describing.
whole-
King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, where Merlin travels to the future.
Okay, yes,
to get
yes, that is.
knights.
Oh, I thought I
Oh my
made that up like
God.
as a kid, and then eventually found a thing like on YouTube, and it's like, no, that was
Episode
real.
1, opening kickoff.
We could do a whole the Strength Than fan fiction about King Arthur related projects. I think.
I thought you were about to say on shows that we each thought we made up from our childhood.
That's actually not a bad idea.
And then, from the field of the future, a new king will come to save the world of the past.
Ride through the storm, see the knights fighting evil and crime. A modern-day team of heroes in medieval times. Arthur and the Knights of Justice, putting evil down. Ride through the storm with the Knights of the Table Round.
All right, let's go over and talk about the shows for this week. Let's start with Upload Season 2, which I believe there are 6 episodes of so far. In Amazon's continuing weird.
Is it not done?
sometimes-
I just assumed they dropped it all.
Is it done? I don't know.
That's the problem. So that's the main problem with Upload. I liked season 1 and I liked season 2, and both of them feel so weirdly paced somehow.
So yeah, that is it. Those 7 episodes, that's it.
Yep, thought so.
Oh wow!
Because I
Wonder if maybe this was pre-COVID and they held it.
I don't know. I have no
His,
idea.
it remains my favorite thing that I've seen Robbie Amell do. He's great in it. I like all of the cast. Season 1, my main issue with it was that it was a cute, fun and gamesy kind of show at the start of this premise, and then it suddenly got into this pretty complex, weird murder backstory. And
It was
I
very
liked both
complicated.
halves, but it was an odd thing. And then season 2, it jarringly starts full on into the complex murder shit, and I was like, cool, well, at least we're already here, and now I'm really loving this show. It feels on all cylinders. And then somehow by the 7th episode, it didn't feel like a finale. It still somehow felt like it left me hanging, where I was like, I loved this season, but now I have a weird taste in my mouth about it. Like
I think you like this better than I do. I
I definitely like
it,
this better than
and-
y'all.
and there's stuff that I like about it. Like Robbie. I think Robbie Amell and his fiance or his fiance or his wife or whatever she is,
Girlfriend.
girlfriend. I thought they did a great job making her a very interesting character. Like she's a psychopath.
Yeah,
but she's a likable psychopath.
but I really come to I come to like the whole ensemble by the end of season 2.
Well, by the
Yeah.
end of episode 1, you realize that she has faked dying. And I'm like,
Which
what? What?
it completely undercuts the season finale of season 1, which I hate when shows
Oh.
do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree.
I think
thought
they
it made so much
they
sense to the
sneak
character.
away with it because Robbie Amell, she is dead. And he's very guilted into staying with her.
It's her
Yep,
whole
yep.
their whole reason for doing it was to guilt him into
That's the thing. Like, I did not find it shocking that she was not dead. In fact, I was kind of waiting for that reveal because
well,
it didn't seem like the kind of thing she would actually do.
how far did everybody get in the season?
I watched it all.
I told you I got 2
I
episodes in, but obviously I watched more than that because you kept mentioning things that I had seen. So I don't know where I am.
Kyle, did they get far enough, Kyle, for you to see the body regrowing shit?
Oh, God.
Yeah, the Logan Paul joke.
Oh, yeah.
Who says, sorry, Mr. Logan Paul?
And
Yeah.
I was with you on the like, fuck you, undercut the thing to have her alive, but also it made sense to me for the character, but it did undercut the entire
Yeah.
like of the
No, I
end of
agree
that.
with that. Well, I think the bigger one was also one of the big threats of season 1 was him getting sent to 2 gig.
Yeah.
And I mean, that also, of course, they're not going to leave him down there. That'd be a dumb show.
But
it was just like,
they
wait a
treat it as
second.
an easy way to time jump. So, and
Yeah,
have him
Yeah.
have one character
I
progress
liked-
while one character just stays in stasis and stays the same.
I liked when he had his 2 gig buddy come to the dinner party and she just
Yang.
like yeah, thanks for all the food. Yeah, that was great. I've kind of grown to really like his weird his buddy, his military buddy in
Luke.
Upload World.
I
think Luke is one of the more pure characters here.
Well,
Yeah,
they have one of his office, like one of the guys that served under him, come and visit him, and
Yeah.
you get like an idea of what the guy he used to be, and like it's kind of sad that he's so alone here. Like he's just
Yeah.
So I'll tell you one thing that I thought was disappointing. I think they gave Nora a crap storyline this season.
with
I
the
get what they were trying to do,
yeah
The Ludds.
Luddites and all that stuff, but I felt like they never made me believe the Luddites were anything but crazies.
yeah
Like I should be on the side of the people because this is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like uploading after death and continuing the inequality of wealth and after death is fucked up. But the way they're going at it is the dumbest way possible. Like,
Well, the
we
more
don't like this
vulnerable-
inequality, so we're gonna blow up the afterlife.
And they have
That
a
is the
split.
stupidest thing I've
They
ever
have a
heard.
split in the Luddite. Like in the Ludds, they
Yeah.
have a split between the people that want to blow up the rich people's country clubs and the people who want to blow up all of it.
of it.
Yeah, but even the people who want to blow up the rich country club, I'm like, you can't. You've spent time making us care about at least some of these people, so you can't have me thinking, oh yeah, blowing this up. I want them to be like, we want everyone in there. They should be looking for the free
The Freon, yeah,
Mhm.
but they hate
the
Freon.
Freon.
Well, and now we've discovered the real plot of Freon, like
Yeah.
what that really is doing. Has a whole conspiracy thing behind it that is so like mind-numbingly simple and evil
yes, and believable.
and believable.
Yes.
It felt very don't look up, honestly.
I think
Mhm.
that may be my issue with the show is that it can't seem to decide its tone. Is it wacky, crazy, funchy sci-fi, or is it subversive political? And
Maybe.
you
I
can't do
can't-
both, and they're
Well,
trying to do both.
I watched all of
Yeah.
season 1
It's
and
trying to do
obviously
both,
most of
yeah.
season 2, and I'm still like trying to figure out why don't I like this? Because there's jokes in here that work. A lot of the story stuff it makes sense, and there's nothing like I can't point out anything that's directly missing in this show. But I think the pacing and the tone of it are like I don't know. I think maybe
It's like
if things
what
I
they-
feel like if things happen in a different order, I might like this better.
I think it's the writing. I think they are dropping storylines.
What
that
they
are-
pick
that
to
are
pay off
weird
is wrong
thing.
for
Yeah.
me.
Like-
I
like if-
want them to pay
if
off.
Nora
the,
fell in love with what's his name by the end of the season, rather than like in episode 2 or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
or
You know-
or his wife or his girlfriend or whatever the rich
Ingrid.
one,
Yeah,
Ingrid.
yeah.
Her
If they had
and
saved
the
that
butler,
reveal.
who is like the butler's clearly growing feelings, and she's falling
Yes.
in love with him. And
Mhm.
I needed I wanted that to wrap by the end of the season. Like
Yeah.
when I think that was one of the things that made the season finale not feel like the end of the season for me. Is because I was like, no, I don't hang that out there for a theoretical season 3.
Yeah.
One of the easy notes I could have made, well, yeah, if I'd been consulted on the show. But no, I think it's very much a hat on a hat where they have both this fantasy world of Upload where it's like, this is what it'd be like in the afterlife, the food, they can program it. And there's all the jokes there. But then also when you're outside of Upload in the real world, it's like a future world where they
Yeah.
also have like all these rules. And I guarantee you they could have done it one of two ways. They could have made Upload like have the same rules as reality and be placed in like 2020,
Mhm.
or they could have just made the real world present day, but still have this technology exist and kind of all the politics that goes with it.
I agree
Um,
with you. I agree. I think you're right.
Yeah, because I do find myself when we're going back and forth from like, they did the hand phone. That's one of the tricks. Like,
Mhm.
It
but
is
then when they're
weird
in
that the outside
like,
world seems
yeah,
more
it's-
technically advanced than any Upload place. Because
Mhm.
they're in that chateau
Yeah.
hotel old style
And
thing.
Nick and I were, the shit would look like Fortnite in there. Like things
Yeah,
would be
that's-
real weird.
Oh no, it
That's
would
the other thing. Like we've now seen the Good Place and Free Guy.
Free Guy.
and
That
you
would
can't
be
tell
what it
me
would
that
be like.
those-
Free Guy.
Yeah.
That's more like what it would look like. Rich people aren't going to just do this. They're going to be. I mean, they do little bits of evil cigarette smoking man eating like endangered animals.
All of
But,
the
like,
you've
that
eaten all
would
of the
be-
peacocks.
That's such
there.
an on the nose joke,
That
but
would
I
be-
love it.
That would be all the time.
They show some kids doing a Hadoken in the background one time, and I'm like, that is not
Yeah.
the only time that would happen. That is
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's weirdly too restrained, and I think it comes down to they can't decide what tone they want to do. Like They're like, if they do too silly in the afterlife, then they can't have their serious political conspiracy in the real world. And I don't think that's true. I think Free
Yeah.
Guy showing out you can do it.
I think they're
But you
underestimating.
Also, they bring up,
better at
like,
writing. I think the
I
writing.
think
on
maybe
this is
their
a
their
little-
ideas, they don't really utilize them to their full extent because they have a plot line in this season of buying up the IPs for all dreams and selling them to Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just
Yeah.
pass right past. I mean, they don't pass
and-
right past it,
Yeah.
but that's a holy shit, its own show
And-
level.
but
freaking-
the
Yeah,
payoff for that is the relationship thing because one guy is having a sex dream about her and it's kind of embarrassing. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, wait a minute, that's
Yeah.
where we're going with that? That is way
Yeah.
that's more interesting than any of the shit you've done in the last hour.
Yeah, I think that's the failure of imagination is very clear on this. And it's too bad because here's the thing: I don't dislike this show. I watched every episode. I find it very background watchable, but I feel like it should be better.
I
Background
agree.
watchable is a good
Yeah.
good way to describe this.
All right, so we jump over to Star Trek Picard,
God.
Sure.
which I'm not sure. I can't remember where all you guys came down on Picard season 1.
Oh, I didn't
I
watch any
really
of it until
enjoyed
just
Picard
today.
season 1.
Yeah, I mean, I
think
liked
I
season
liked-
1. I think I liked it more than the general consensus I saw online. But I honestly clearly didn't remember nearly enough of it because the first episode back of this was confusing as shit for me. Sorry, Kyle,
Mm-hmm.
you were saying?
Oh no, I was like, I think I liked it more than Discovery last year.
Yeah, I did.
Really interesting.
I
Nick,
watched
what did
episode-
you think? Having
I watched episode 1 of season 1 today. And then I
Okay,
watched
okay.
episode 1 of season I watched episode 1 of season 1 and I'm like, "Oh, I remember why I like Next Gen. Like this Picard thing and the Data's daughter thing, they have really good chemistry. I actually really like them. I don't know if that will continue
Uh-huh.
because they blew her up and are doing her twin for what seems like no fucking reason. What a weird thing of like, wait, how is it dramatic if there's an exact copy of what did this add to anything other than time of this relationship?
I think they wanted to do the let's kill off a character so nobody sees it coming,
Yeah.
which I thought was a little cheesy.
It
But
w-
so wait a minute, you went from season 1, episode 1 to
Mhm.
season 2, episode 1. Jesus Christ, were you super confused?
I mean, that episode starts like 4 times.
Yeah, well, I was by the second time it started, I was like, okay, I think this is just not dealing with any kind of continuity that I'm like. Obviously, we're ahead of time even for this thing, and yeah. So after I watched episode 1 of season 1, I really wanted to go. I'm like, oh, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of season 1. And then I watched the first episode of season 2, and I went, oh, I'm really looking forward to watching the rest of season 1.
So that's interesting because I think the consensus, not amongst us, but in general, is that Picard season 1 was disappointing. And I do think they dropped the ball in the finale a little bit.
I gotta
But
tell you guys,
I
I hate
found-
Q. I hate Q.
Okay,
See,
fair
I
enough.
like Q, and so that's
I
what I
like
was looking
Q.
forward to this season.
Yeah.
But they
I was like, yeah.
they pull a so that first episode back restarts like as they show where everybody is at the start of it,
Mhm.
and they're
Yeah.
also doing a like thing blow up 2 days earlier. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
a little bit earlier. Like they're already doing that thing. So I was for the first half of the episode back, I was just confused as shit. And then in the last half of it, it suddenly gelled into this like, oh my god, I'm about to get it. I thought Q was coming back this season, but I haven't really watched any of the previews for it, so maybe I'm wrong. I'm about to get a season of the Borg trying to join the Federation, and I am here for that nerdiness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
then
thought
I realized, and then it made this like boom bank, like psych, nope. You're
Yeah.
in for It's a Wonderful Life. Only Picard made the world fascist.
I
and I was like, at the-
no, that's boring.
I almost didn't watch the
No.
episode. If I hadn't just let it play, I almost stopped it because I was like, but I don't want to watch that show at all.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting. I watched the trailer for this, so I knew going in what I knew we were getting Save the Whales Picard. I knew we were getting go back in time Picard. And here's the thing. I think Discovery has done this, and I think Picard has done this, and I think that one of the benefits of modern Star Trek and also the detriments is you can do a season of a show that once would have been one episode.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the notion of
This would have been one episode of Next Gen. Yes.
going back in time to prevent a fascist alternate world that Q created, that's one episode of Next Gen. And for me, that's not enough time. I want a season of this. So I'm happy about this turn.
So they
but I know
did
some
it to
people
me
aren't.
again in episode. So I basically episode 1 sold me on the season, and then when they did
Yeah.
later this season on Picard, and they showed me that
Yeah.
thing killed it.
Yeah.
And then I let it play. And
Yeah.
episode 2 won me back because I love Q and was like, all right, what's this whole fucking weird thing? And then then episode 2, I realized, oh shit, we're not even doing y'all trapped slider style in the fascist world.
No.
We're
that's just a setup.
doing undiscovered. I mean, we're doing the Save the Whales.
Save the whales. Yeah. Voyage home.
Yeah, Voyage Home, and I like realizing like, oh my god, so this is more like a Cobra Kai type thing of like, we're just gonna do this movie this season. And realize,
I
like,
can't tell
okay,
you that
when he goes, oh, Kirk's Enterprise has done it several times. Like, man, that is not the start of anybody's good fucking plan. Just because Kirk's Enterprise has done it twice doesn't mean it's not still the dumbest plan anyone's thought of. They just did it twice.
this I think when I think Star Trek Lower Decks made fun of Q in one of their episodes, and it really resonated with me because I think Q just shows up and is like, we don't have fucking time to deal with your bullshit, Q. And I was like, yes, that's anytime he showed up, that's always what I felt like. I'm like, god damn it, it's gonna be this fucking thinky existential crisis thing that's gonna have like no impact on the ongoing plot going forward. And
I
was like, he was always nice enough to freeze everybody in time.
I know.
So they were right there at the end of the episode.
He's like the Mr. Mitsapulitalik of damn it.
oh yeah, he's Picard Might.
He's Picard Might, yes.
Ah.
So let me pull back a little bit here. I liked this season so far, actually more than I like season 1. Probably because I think they did a lot of character building in season 1, and all those characters, we were seeing them at like their worst. Like they were all disillusioned. None of them were in Starfleet, and so we start this season, and like the guy is the captain of a starship.
Yeah,
again.
Rios
He's
has
the
his,
captain of Rios is the captain of the fucking Stargazer, which is just a cool reveal. If you know anything about Star Trek continuity, that's a really cool little nod. Picard is an admiral teaching at the running the academy. Girardi seems to have gotten into a place where her weird neuroses are working for her.
7 of 9 is back.
7 of 9 is back doing her hunter shtick. Like everybody's doing their thing. I love that Elnor went to the academy,
and it's
I
the
thought
first
that was
full blown
cool.
run. Yeah.
Like there was a lot of cool stuff that I liked in this, and then so I kind of liked all the setup, and then they blew it all up, and I'm like, oh, I was kind of interested in seeing them in their redeemed factor, but then seeing them all thrown together as the ragtag crew preventing a fascist takeover, I was interested in that too.
I like them finding each other. That was great.
I love that 7 happens to be the president of this fascist. I was like, that's great.
She's going to wear that. Great.
I'm fine with that. And then I liked the flashback into the past. I like seeing. There's a lot to be said about we're on a tilting point toward fascism or toward the Star Trek future here in 2024. I like that a lot. I think there's a lot of stuff. Now, could it be too heavy-handed and dumb? Absolutely. Is it so far? I don't think so. I thought those ice guys, like that was 100% believable.
I also feel like heavy-handed is where Star Trek ought, like that's Trek for me. Like this shit's wrong for Star Wars to do.
I don't care. Like
this is what Trek is here for.
One of the things I like about the episode, like what I watched, was that the whole flashback with Picard and him dealing with his mom and how epic it feels. Of like, okay, so you realize that you can't write a scene with Patrick Stewart in it without every piece of dialogue him being this grand thing. Like he can't say anything without people being like, oh, this was the most important thing anyone's ever said. So you like leaned into it. You turned into the skid and just like, no, everything he says is a fucking is just wisdom. It's like talking to Gandalf or something. And one of the things I like about Star Trek, and why I think I was so disappointed, was that every series has they do the Fast and the Furious thing where they always bring the enemy to be on the team next time. And so like you get Worf and 7 of 9. And I'm like, okay, I really like that going forward. And then 7 of 9 was even just kind of a Borg hybrid. So having the Borg join the Federation as the Borg, I was like, that's a fucking neat idea. What are the politics of that?
I like the Borg Queen on their ragtag team.
I do too. It's a terrible idea.
Oh, like, it's awful.
The Borg are not. You should not trust the Borg.
No,
they're all
7 of 9's reaction when they reveal her of like, no, shoot her now, kill her now.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, also she transports onto the Enterprise when the shields are up. And I'm like, okay, I don't have not a
Yeah.
big Trekkie, but I'm almost certain that's impossible because otherwise you could just transport bombs onto any fucking ship and
Yeah,
kill everything.
You're
God.
not supposed to be able to do
I
that.
loved the fucking creepy ass, like, holy shit, the new Borg design was creepy.
Yeah.
With the, like, I mean, it looked like the Imperial Trooper only in black, like it had that like solid head.
Mhm.
And then watching her work where you could see all the
Yep.
shit turn.
She's got like clockwork underneath that kind of
Yep.
gizmos that turn around. Yeah.
Because you know she's
Also-
constantly adapting, like whatever you're firing at her, they're taking that in. Like Borg have always
Also,
looked like that.
In episode 3, when she's like she's debodied and she's crawling towards Jurati, that is some alien shit. That was scary.
And Jurati realizes, like, oh shit.
Also, hey, red shirts, listen to your captain and stop shooting at the thing that can't die.
Oh,
Apparently,
man. When Rios yells at like 3 waves of them to like, she's only targeting the ones that are shooting at her. Stop
Yeah.
shooting.
do you
at
see
her.
how I'm not getting shot? That's not a coincidence.
Though, in the same way that I don't understand in any spy show why anybody ever puts a red light on anything, right? Like if you're sticking a listening device under my desk, don't put a goddamn light on it. That's stupid. And in the same way, if I am in an emergency situation, having to like with my dying breath yell the self-destruct code for the ship, don't start at 10. Just blow up.
Just blow the fuck up, man.
I'll give him this though. Usually it's like 10 minutes.
Right.
He was like 10 seconds. We're go.
I was still just like, Siri, I didn't say set a timer. I said blow the ship up.
I would appreciate they would go into like they're powering up the core to overload and it takes 10 seconds.
Yes. Because instead
also-
it just felt like, well, that's a crap thing. Why do we got to
Well-
wait that out? Shit.
and the crazy thing is there was no reason to do it other than to build tension because they did blow it up. Like the ship blows up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's no last moment to save it. It was entirely a like, but I want it to happen now. I meant it to happen. I know
Yeah.
this is the plan.
Kyle, where do you come down on this?
I bet Nick already knows where I come down on this.
Do I?
Do you have a guess?
You love it.
No, you were giving me shit last week about how there's always one show that I managed to not watch.
Oh,
And we have arrived to
Got
that
it.
segment of the broadcast.
I was
Okay,
just
you
thinking,
didn't
there's
watch
no way you
Picard.
didn't love it. You didn't watch
No,
it.
I am definitely going to watch this. I'm excited for the whole season, but yeah, we just haven't.
well, Kyle, I'm
got
going to
it
guess
yet.
you like it because I can't remember you hating a single thing ever on this show ever. I don't think.
I hated big dogs.
I know what Randy hates. I know what Les hates. I do not know what you hate, Kyle. That's a mystery. We
gotta
have not
keep 'em
run into
guessing.
it yet, apparently.
If we can figure out a way to predict the show that Kyle won't watch, like Prince of Darkness style, we could each week make up that show and just see if you Stranger Than Fanfiction believes it. Like none of the things we just said happened on Star Trek at all.
I think Kyle just has that mentality of a child he's never got out of. Like, oh, no, it's great. It's TV. I'm watching it. Like,
Yeah.
of course it's great. It's a
that has
movie.
only
There's
started
bright lights.
I think that has only started to come off for me just very recently.
Nick, I don't know if you should cast any stones because I'm pretty sure that's how you and Les watch movies.
Just
it should
about.
be disturbing for Kyle because I cast stones on that because there are movies that I actively don't watch. So
Yes, one
If
of
we
those
put
movies
credits
is not
on it,
20.
you'll think it's a movie.
One of those movies is not 2018's Robin Hood.
Yeah.
I probably the same.
All right, so let's jump over to our final show of the week, and that is Minx over on HBO Max. This one caught me by surprise. I guess I saw a trailer late and threw it into the mix. And I think the reason that this caught my eye was because it's got
The nude dudes.
it's got Nick from New Girl.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
Jake
yeah.
Johnson's in it.
I knew nothing
And-
about this show. I honestly, I was happy to see that it was 30 minutes, and then I hit it. I knew New Girl guy was in it. I keep thinking of him as Broke Nose Dude, which is probably also fair. Nick something
Yep.
from Dex, or whatever the canceled PI show that we were watching.
Yeah, Stumptown. He was in
Stumptown.
Stumptown. He also was
Damn.
a Spider-Man in Edge of Spider-Verse.
That's
so.
right. So when this has a big glow energy.
It also feels a little bit
Oh.
like physical in that it's trying to be sort of about
It's
feminine rage.
but it's
in
not
a-
as
in a
harrowing
not
as
femme
physical.
age. No, it's
I didn't.
more. It's
I didn't
more
watch
comedy.
anybody eat a sheet cake. and run.
I was actually getting the Deuce vibes from this a little
So
bit.
was I. It's a
but
more
the Deuce
fun
is-
Deuce.
Yeah, the Deuce is
Deuce
more
is
serious.
dirtier. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is fairly dirty. It's just a little sophomoric, I think.
Yeah, this is fun.
I really liked this. The only thing that I had a problem with, and they get over it really fast, is the main character, I forget her name, is
Joyce. Yeah.
is naive to the point of, are you in the same time period as everyone else? Like, are you from the future?
Yeah, she feels like
She can't sell this, like, she's surprised this magazine idea of hers won't sell, is like, you
Like
gotta
she
know.
can't wrap her, and that she can't wrap her head around sex. Like,
yeah.
thankfully, like you said, they get past it pretty quick. By the end of the second episode, they've already started messing with her on like, have you had sex? Have you seen a penis?
Because
Do
he
you
has a
like
great
sex?
idea of like, hey, one of your things you said about how females have no place to go to see a dick. Let's give them that. And she's like, women don't want to see dicks. And I went, okay, I make a sizable portion of my living narrating erotic novels under a pseudonym, so I can definitely tell you that is not fucking true at all.
Well, and it takes her
Women
sister looking at
wanna
her
see
when she's
dicks.
like, well, when she's trying to write the ad for the sex toys, and she's like, well, I don't even know any women that ever use a marital aid like this. And her sister's like, yeah, you do. And she's like, no,
Yeah,
I
you
don't.
do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do.
Like even when she's presented with it, she still is just so like that.
It's
that,
funny,
Yeah, I need
she's-
that shine to get knocked off her a little faster.
She's talking about like the
Yeah.
female experience without seeming to have ever talked to another female person ever.
And
Yeah,
that is one
yeah.
of the fun things about the show. Like, that's very much not only something they're doing on purpose, but all the other characters are just constantly calling her out for it.
Yeah.
And I think what's awesome is we're going to see throughout the course of the series the transformation of the idea for a magazine into, this like nudie guy magazine. But then we're also hopefully going to see the transformation of her into somebody who's an actual liberal and not just, somebody who's like a token liberal.
That absolutely is a thing, to just come to this opinion without actually talking to other people in your group.
Yeah, yeah. Can I tell you, I wasn't as in love with this as everybody else. I think I thought it was goofy, and it had its fun moments, but I'm not in love with any of the characters except for the one played by Jake Johnson, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's as consistently funny as I would like it to be.
I like the end joke of the women yelling at the naked construction worker. Show us your dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love like,
Yeah.
man, women
Like
have
that
it.
was-
like,
That was a
that's
good
pretty
moment of
good.
showing me she could come up with something good in this. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's getting
because
it.
they
Okay.
needed to do that because
There's
so
some
far
clever
she
bits.
seems terrible at this.
Yeah.
There's some clever
totally-
bits, but this feels as inconsistent to me as Upload. In terms of like, I don't feel like it's found its voice yet.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause
I will definitely give a season 1 way more time to figure it out than I do a season 2.
And that's
Uh,
fair.
Well,
Yeah.
I would like the shine get knocked off of this character, like you said, Randy, more, because she obviously doesn't respect a lot of the people she works with. She still like looks down on a lot of she meets Bambi and
Yeah.
is like, I don't know why you're shit talking Bambi. She's way better at this than you, and is
Mhm.
doing a fucking
I
great
like
job.
Bambi.
Yeah.
And I think they gave this lead a hard role to play. And I like the lead. She was Karina in Guardians of the Galaxy. She was in she was the British spy in that short-lived show. God, what was it called? I just saw the name of it.
Irregulars.
Not the Irregulars. No, it was the one with God, what's it? I'm blanking. I just looked at it. God damn it. Whiskey Cavalier.
I
yes.
thought that's the show you were thinking of. I should have said.
She was the British show. She was a little British spy who was like the girlfriend of the lead character. I like her, and I know she can play fun roles, but I feel like they're writing her really badly here, and they're making her. If Diane Chambers on Cheers was just like a tad more annoying than she already was, that's the character they've given her, and she's surrounded by better female characters. Whether it's Tina, whether it's her sister, whether it's Bambi, they're all better characters, and that's not fair to your
Like
protagonist.
twice in conversation in 2 episodes, she says something to Jake Johnson where he has to stop and like, do people like your company?
And that's one of the funny lines. She's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
Like, that's a funny line.
Yeah, but then they do that joke again where I'm like, she's still doing it though.
He read the book
she
that
needs to
she
grow
gave
faster.
him, and she was like, "Oh, I can't love it." I'm like, "Yeah, I love that. Whatever the fuck her name is," and she
And he
pronounces
mispronounces her name. Yeah.
it. And then he's like corrects her
Yeah.
in French, and I'm like, and then he goes like, "Yeah, do people like your company? Do like people like you? Like,
Does this
Yeah.
work? Has this worked for you? No.
There are fun moments. Her coming up with that idea for the shoot. When they roll into the country club all decked
Oh,
out,
yeah.
like that's great. Steven Toporowski playing the guy, the
Total
sexist
fucking
country
creeper.
club guy.
Yeah.
Like, I liked that stuff, but yeah, I feel like the central problem of this is the lead character, and they've got to change her.
Yeah, she's got to mellow out.
because
and I wanna
Jake
see that.
Johnson is
Like,
100%
hopefully they get
right
to
when
it.
he says that your idea
Yeah.
is good, except you come off as screamy, and no one wants to be lectured on anything.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, you can't have his character be 100% right. I get that we all like Jake Johnson, but again, I'm going to throw back to Cheers. Sam was not always right. He was likable and fun, but Sam was usually a dumb goof. And
I'm hoping that
Diane
he's
was
only
usually
right in
but she was
comparison
right.
to her.
Yeah.
The way this has to work, she has to be right but annoying about it, and he has to be a little bit wrong but charming. That's the twist, and they're not giving it. Instead, he's right, he's correct and charming, and she's wrong and annoying, and you can't be both.
Yeah. Yeah. One of her articles or something about her smarty side has to work soon,
Yeah.
while she's also mellowing out. And I
Yeah.
don't quite know how they're going to thread that needle from here, but I'm going to watch a
Otherwise-
couple of more because I like the set design.
Otherwise, she's going to have to eat a whole sheet cake.
Yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
that scene.
Man, I guess
that scene was.
I guess I
disturbing.
do like everything because this is my favorite thing this week.
Oh, wow.
I was surprised by it. I enjoyed both episodes. Two
I
for fun.
Yeah.
liked it, but I was definitely a little let down having seen the trailer was great. The trailer for this was super good, promised a lot of fun, and I think that the show didn't quite deliver on the trailer.
It's
which is
hard
always
for a show to overcome an unlikable protagonist, but this show I thought did it with its
Yeah.
other characters and set deck and just the concept of it. Of like, I liked all the dudes coming in and just be like them just treating it the
That
same way as
parade
anything
of
else.
That
Minx.
was
But, yeah.
fantastic watching my wife watch the penis scene because like it was uncontrollable her reactions and it
Yeah.
was a different reaction for every penis.
Well,
So it'd
yeah.
be like a giggle for this one, a gasp for that one. And it was just like consecutive. Like,
honestly,
woo, woo.
that may be the most that's one of those things like, holy shit, no other show's ever done this. Like,
Well,
we
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about like Game of Thrones and nudity, but like nobody's ever done just like a full on parade of
more than
penises
that,
like
the one that like the first one to disrobe, like you think they're going to do the TV show thing of or movie thing of like, okay, we're going to do this once. That dude's
Nope.
about to drop a penis to his knees.
Nope,
and
here's
nope,
a parade.
nope. And, but I like that they're like, huh, short and thick. That's a cool combo.
That's a cool, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're
Like,
looking for the right dick. Like,
Can I ask just a general protagonist question? Like, if this character is unlikable, will it be more satisfying later in the show if she then becomes likable because she started off as unlikable?
I
No.
think that's what they're trying to do.
It'll make
Well,
me
yeah, I think
want
that's what
to
they're trying
watch
to do.
the
I'm-
second half of season 2 rather than go back and rewatch any of this. It's like
Yeah.
I see what
back
you're
in
saying.
it's like
Yep.
Parks and Recreation, how everyone skips that first season after they watch it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Leslie in season 1 is just annoying and grating, and you don't look back and go, "Oh yeah, Leslie became this great." You're like, "Why'd they fuck it up so bad in the first season?" And I feel like that's what maybe is going to happen here.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that construction worker gag, I don't know if that was episode 1 or 2, where essentially the whole time everybody's like, let's put dicks in it, let's make it nudity. And she's like, no, let's make it feminism. And then at the end, she was the one who was able to mold the ideas together. I feel like that's a satisfying conclusion for that. But I agree with you guys. If it is, they're going to start every episode with her being curmudgeon, get to the end of the episode, she changes her mind. That will get
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. I need her to keep progressing and not reset back to curmudgeonly. I'm hoping that her sister's going to quickly become my favorite character on the show.
Oh, love
Just
her
'cause
sister. Yeah.
That
Oh God,
actress is
what's
so
her
good,
line
too.
at the country club? She's like, "Your lives are also interesting. Yelling is, or the only thing I do with my mouth is yell." Because like Bambi has just pulled out like 8 tied together
Yeah,
cherry stems
yeah.
from her mouth, And like, are all your party tricks mouth related? Pretty much.
Bambi might be my favorite character.
Yeah.
Bambi
I think
rules.
she's going to wind up being. They've already shown her to be smarter than you expect her to be, and I think she's going to wind up being like a prominent piece of this whole thing.
I think so.
She's like what's his name, right hand man. Like like she acts like someone that's been in this business a long time and is very confident in her knowledge of it.
Well, it's funny because go back to the Deuce. Maggie Gyllenhaal's character is all about that, sort of like her going from actress to director, and this is like a version of that that's not quite as traumatizing as
serious,
the version of the Deuce.
Her his secretary and her introduction to Joyce is
I
the
did
hardest.
love that.
That's the hardest I think I laughed in episode 1. When like, man, I'm not the maid, I'm just black. And like, and then watching Joyce stammer back, and then like, I'm fucking with you, I'm his secretary. and then she sits down and like, oh yeah, that was a really funny joke. Racist. I fucking died, man. That played so nicely.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, TV dudes.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Nick.
Randy.
Thanks, dudes.
Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder that you can go to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us that bucket episode, listen to us talk about this week the guest, next week my boyfriend's back, and until next time,
TV Dudes out. The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.